Here says, so hold on a second. Right before we're saying you can't just sack Maresca. Well, I didn't say you can't sack him. I said I really don't know what Chelsea need to do to fix themselves because they can't keep sacking managers. But Ange going and the 7th manager in 6 years coming in is fair game. So the scenario that I see that is different here
is rubbish.
Well, one, there's that, but also I'm going based on what Tottenham fans tell me. Tottenham fans tell me that your ownership are never going to build a squad that's going to get the best out of Ange's football. So therefore, I'm suggesting he should go. If the thought and theory was that they're going to build a squad that is going to be one of the best in the league, and therefore Ange's system would work, I would say stick with him. So again, like I said earlier, we can't treat all teams. I know we want to do this in the social media world where what you say about Arsenal has to match what you say about Liverpool, but football clubs aren't a monolith. Their situations, their scenario are not all the same. Therefore, the solutions cannot be identical. So I'm not saying that Maresca shouldn't be sacked at Chelsea. I'm stating that I don't know if sacking him fixes them because it's a very young squad, and I think those young players need some continuity. They probably need a better manager, but I still think they've got to go through a period of continuity. My issue with Big Ange isn't the lack of continuity at Tottenham. It's the Contes and the approaches for the Joses. I think, again, they were too ambitious for the club. They were never going to build a squad that those managers would get the very best out of based on who they are. They'll kind of win now, if you like. They do need a project manager because your squad is always a project. Your squad is, I can't remember the last time we looked at a Spurs squad and went, that is almost complete. That's one of the best in the league and is going to win the league title. So until you feel confident your ownership are going to build that, I don't think you can have a manager that expects that or needs it. You need a manager, unless you can. You need someone that is going to be adequate for what you're going to build. It needs to match.
But can I ask you something? What do you think the target is for Spurs long term? Like if I'm asking you, you say all of this, and I'm listening to you, a project manager. What do you think Spurs' target should be?
Win a trophy.
What it should be to win a trophy and try and get to the top. What
kind of trophy? Like a cup, like
League Cup, FA Cup.
Yeah. I mean, but there's two trains of thought here. Every club's ambitions to be to try and build the best squad possible, to keep growing, to keep getting bigger and better, to one day win the league. That should be every club's ambition. But the timeline is different for everybody because Ipswich having that thought and that end goal, the timeline is longer than Chelsea as an example. But what do I think their goal at the football club is? Their aim is to try and get into the Champions League so they can sell more marketing and advertising.
So you think Brighton have the same, like Brighton want to win a cup, of course.
Yes.
Bournemouth. But do you think Brighton are aiming, like now they're sitting in rooms and thinking in 5-6 years we should be challenging for the Premier League, for example?
Maybe not.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're thinking that. Hang on. But what I'll say about Brighton is this: Brighton didn't go out in the summer and went, do you know what? Let's throw stupid money at bringing Antonio Conte in to manage what we are. The types of squads that they build at Brighton, and Antonio Conte would never want to manage because they're not ready to go and win now. He'd become frustrated. He'd become annoyed. They hire the coaches that are right for where they currently are in the pyramid of football. And that's what you've got to aim to do as a football club. You have to aim to get the right head coach for the squad and the period of which you are in as a football club. For instance, if Newcastle keep getting better, as mentioned by Steve earlier, they build an even better squad. They start challenging for the league, but Eddie Howe can't quite get them over the line. The next step isn't another Eddie Howe. The next step might be an Antonio Conte because the squad is brilliant. But that's where they are at that moment. Spurs have not had a squad in the last 3 or 4 years where I think you can go out and get one of the world's best managers who's going to walk in and go, fucking yes, look at that squad. I just think that's crazy to me. I personally think that's crazy. What you need is a head coach that matches the ambition of your club and where you currently are in football to move you and develop you forward. So I just think Ange, I think there's a very good coach in there, but what he needs is a team that's one of the best in its league. And Spurs are not going to build that, in my opinion. So I just think it's a bad match. And like Twisted, you can say look closer to home, but I've called my own club out for these things. Where Man United are does not dictate my other football clubs. Come on, Twisted Bubba. It's a crazy thing to say. You're doing the basic bitch stuff that other shit channels do.
Last. Let's go.
So yeah, I think they've got to move on from him. And the way he's kind of bugging out and losing, and this is also it. His mindset ain't built for being at Tottenham, not because they're too big for him or too small for him, but he knows he ain't got the squad to play the way he wants. He's losing his mind because the results aren't there. and he doesn't want to do it a different way. It's just it's going to become it's already toxic. You don't talk to the media like he does and kick off with fans like he does if it isn't toxic. That doesn't happen. So for me, they've got to move on from him. They really, really do, in my personal opinion.
I don't think Spurs will be a top team again, to be honest.
I do
Even if
agree
they
with
make
that. I
Champions
think
League.
the road to come back is a long road, and this is why I understand Mo's questioning. Mo's essentially saying, okay, what's the end game here? That's basically what he's saying. So what's the ultimate target? You know, the target for Arne Slot ultimately is to win a Premier League and a Champions League in the same season. The road for Arteta eventually is to win a Premier League. We all know what the end goal is.
Even the aim for United, Osam, even for Man United.
Even Ineos and Bummy Man United have said that in 2030 they want to be challenging for a Premier League. So khalas, we have a roadmap. We have exactly the target. You know, we know what they're looking at. But with Spurs, there is no real target. I mean, Kai mentioned it in the chat. You know, it's just get top 4 because it's lucrative, so they can get more people in the Beyonce concert, and that's it. Spurs are a waste of our time. They're a waste of everyone's time. I never ever put my foot off Spurs' neck because I remember all the stupid shit they said after the first 10 games last season. I'll never forget all the silly arguments I had to hear, all the stupid stuff I had to hear. I remember coming on Spurs match reactions and seeing like about 15 Spurs fans, you know, oh, guys, here's Orchi, here's Young Dan, here's Deji, here's this guy. Now it's like, oh, today we have Deji joining us. And then, you know, the one after, today we got Kate joining us. They all quit.
Yep. And I hear that. And look, United and Spurs are now the same level. But this is the thing. I know where my club is, and I've sat on many shows and spoke about my team and criticized them, and I understand.
But they have an end game.
And even if we don't, the conversations about Tottenham football, you know, I created the Football Terrace where we, you know, not everyone's copied the idea, but everyone now has shows and channels like the Football Terrace. Where my club is doesn't dictate that I like something because Man United are bad doesn't mean I can't have opinions about other teams that are struggling. If that's the case, everyone's got to shut down their channels this season, barring Liverpool, which is just ridiculous. But I know where Man United are, and I will say this: I think Man United have got a far greater chance of getting back to the top than Spurs ever getting there.
That's the easiest bet you've made in your life. That's not
exactly. So that's why I don't even think
it's not even the same thing. Is because Manchester United have been absolutely abysmal and they're still winning trophies. And Tottenham, who have had their best period, and everyone is saying they're excited about this. And oh wow, Ange is coming in. They spent 400 million euros. They still can't win anything. This is what is mad to me. The amount of Spurs fans that give it to us because they are competing alongside Arsenal. My goodness, we are not happy. They're really happy that they're coming into the 4th position. They were doing cartwheels on their roundabout when they beat us to 4th. And I'm sitting there going, we just lost another Premier League title. This is the mentality of that club. It's as long as they beat Arsenal, as long as they're better than Arsenal, they look at the 38-game fixtures and they go, don't worry about them 36. When have we got Arsenal at home and when we got Arsenal away? That's all they care about, these Spurs fans. They don't care, so they don't win anything.
Agree 110%.